Hey everyone, welcome back to 996. The Howl Utah Mammoth lose 4-2 in regulation, obviously, to the LA Kings at home at the Delta Center. Before we get into the game, very unfortunate news that Logan Cooley is out indefinitely with a leg injury that occurred against that Vancouver game. He played like a shift after that and then was held out for the rest of the game, like 3 minutes left in the game. And then he got reevaluated, and that's a long-term injury to our second-line center, future first-line center as soon as next season, probably. It's a big hit to the offense, to Utah Mammoth, who was leading the team in goals with 14. He was an engine on that second line. He showed speed. He shows tenacity. He's a young future player for this team. So to lose him, a lot of people need to step up in place of Cooley if this team wants to even sniff at the playoffs. I'm looking at players like Hayden's got to step up huge. He's in the top six. He's got to step up huge. Jersey needs to step up huge. And we need a little bit more consistency from our top six just to overcompensate for the absence of Logan Cooley. They've been fine, but all of them, Keller, Schmaltz, Peterka, Gunther, need to be more consistently advantageous and better on offense and get results more than they have in the first 31 games of this season so far. You could already tell what type of video this is. So let's get into the game. Utah gets a penalty in the first 2 minutes. They kill it off pretty well, keeping the LA Kings to the outside, not allowing any space or time for LA to make any plays. It was a pretty perfect penalty kill to start the game. And they get a power play shortly after killing off that penalty, but they don't score on it. But right at expiry, Daniel Boot showing some confidence, driving the net, getting to the crease area, getting a pretty good chance on net, but he's unfortunately denied, looking for his first NHL goal of his career. And then after that, in a span of 2 minutes and 20 seconds, the game is pretty much over. LA scores twice in that span. The first one is Adrian Kempe, the fastest, most dangerous player on the Kings. Just a burst of speed from the neutral zone, dekes around Nate Schmidt, dekes around Vejmelka pretty easily, and he scores him a 1-0. And then right after that, the very next shift, LA makes it 2-0. The defense of Utah get caught at center ice. They don't know there's a player behind them. We saw this against Vegas like 2 or 3 weeks ago where the Utah defense, they don't know there's a player behind them, and they're on a breakaway. Vejmelka does get a big chunk of the shot, but it squeaks through him and goes into the net. On this play, Sergachev is up on a boar battle by the hash marks of the face-off dot. Probably shouldn't be there. He had like Krause and McBain doing the dirty work. We don't need Sergachev there. Like, get back. No one was covering Sergachev when he engaged into that board battle, and then Marino's caught at the blue line trying to get back, but it's a great pass from the Kings from behind their net to see that there's another teammate behind the Utah defense. So they make it 2-0, but Utah answers right away. The very next shift, the fourth line, it's Tanev getting his first ever Utah goal, a burst of speed from the blue line, gets a breakaway, amazing deke, amazing elevation on the puck, but it gets called back for offside. That would have been a feel-good story. Tanev scratched for about 2 or 3 games. He's a veteran, and to scratch a veteran, healthy scratch, takes a lot of courage and balls from the head coach. But Tanev hasn't really been good up to his standards, I would say, for the first third of the season. But it gets called back for offside. Very unfortunate, but it seemed like Utah grabbed that adversity and they played with more urgency after their disallowed goal than before those 2 goals were scored against them. But LA was playing some good defense in the first, blocking shots, blocking lanes. Utah really couldn't penetrate well in the first period. So they go into the second period, down 2-0. They're outshot 12-7. It wasn't a good first period. They needed to be much better. 1 minute left in that first period, they did draw a power play, and it's a transitional power play into the second period. And 30 seconds into the power play and the period, Utah scores on the power play, a Dylan Gunther one-timer. Are we back to a good power play? That's about, 3 goals in the past 4 games for the power play, so showing some good signs. This was actually a planned out power play goal. It wasn't a 3-on-1 in a 5-0 game late into third. It wasn't deflected off 3 defenders and into the net. This was a bona fide setup play. Dylan Guenther steps into a slap shot and scores a rifle. Great screen by Peterka. It was assisted by Keller and Sergachev. So it's 2-1. You got a lot of hockey left. They actually draw another power play after scoring to make it 2-1, but they don't score on it. But again, late in the power play, Daniel Boot has the puck at the sideboard, sort of around the face-off dot. And I'm pretty sure anyone else probably would have thrown the puck to the net to create a rebound, create chaos, maybe try to force a play somewhere else, maybe laterally across the ice or to the point. But Daniel Boot takes the puck on his own volition from standing still and just turns on the speed boots and just drives the net, takes the puck to the hole, and he almost gets a goal, almost creates a rebound chance for his teammates, but they can't score. There's a huge hit by Liam O'Brien on veteran Drew Doughty. The crowd standing on their feet, bringing the energy, and slowly but surely Utah building the momentum and getting a lot of good, consistent pressure and attacking pressure. There was a Sean Dursey post after this hit, after Daniel Boot's, chance of taking the puck to the net. Sean Dursey, I think, played his best game of the season. Again, it's against his former team. It seems like he always turns it on when he faces the Kings, but he looked offensive. He looked like he had the instinct of getting the puck to the net and trying to create offense. That's been missing the first 7 games since Sean Dursey returned from injury. Utah had all the pressure sort of from the drop of the puck from the second, but the last 5 minutes of the second period, LA really took control of the game consistently, and Utah had to weather the storm, defend well, and they did. They're only down 2-1. Going into the third, they're outshot 7-6, a low shooting affair in the second period. And considering how dreadful second periods are, this was a pretty good second period for Utah. If they came out in the third like they did in the second, I think they would have had a better favor result in this game, but they don't. They come out flat again, and LA capitalizes on a rare chance to make it 3-1. The puck's bouncing in the slot. Everyone's over skating it. Vejmelka can't get set because the puck is bouncing everywhere. And LA makes it 3-1. LA gets one more good chance, a slot shot right after the goal, and then that was pretty much it for LA, and Utah turns on the momentum, turns on the pressure. There's a nice Sergachev to Hayden. Sergachev's down low behind the Kings net, which is rare for a defenseman, and Hayden's alone in the slot and gets a pretty good pass and has a time and space to unleash a shot, but it's saved by Darcy Kemper. Then there was a Keller to Dursey chance in the high slot. That gets denied, and then there's a Sergachev, a low wrist shot from the point, hits the post. So that's 2 posts for the Utah Mammoth, Dursey and Sergachev. And then the first line comes back out after that nice play to Dursey, and they score. It's Clayton Keller, the captain, scoring on home ice, assisted by Schmaltz and Peterka. A great backhand goal, high-skilled backhand goal by Keller, going against the grain from the goaltender, moving one way, shooting the other, top cheese, roofing it from a backhand position. Very skilled. Utah's only down 3-2 with 8 minutes left in the third, and they're attacking every shift after getting that second goal of the game. And there's a chance where LA's defender breaks his stick, so it's pretty much a 5-on-4. This was around 3 minutes left in the third. Maybe you could have pulled the goalie around that time. It was a pretty quick, I know, and the player who lost his stick did a pretty good job of clearing the puck out with his hands, but that was a good moment that they could have capitalized on, where you have the pressure, the momentum, a player doesn't have a stick, just play it around, keep the puck away from that player with the missing stick. If you pull the goalie, it's like a 6-on-4, but they don't get the chance to, and then they pull Vejmelka, 2 minutes left, and the Kings get the empty net goal to make it 4-2. Utah was outshot 27-21. Power play 1 for 3, so that's good. You got a power play goal. Be a little bit more consistent now. It's 3 goals in the past 4 games. PK perfect, 1 for 1. And face-off 60%. The result sucks for the Utah Mammoth. I think they deserved to go to overtime. I don't think they deserve to win. That first period was pretty brutal. They didn't come out ready to play, and you're at home, and the results are just not there. They've won 2 of their last 8 games, and like, we're not here for moral victories. You got to get points in the standings. You got to win games. I know you won a game in Vancouver that you probably shouldn't have, but you got to find ways to just grab points, and they're just not doing it lately. The only good thing I like from this game is if you look at this chart, a lot of the Utah chances, scoring chances, were in the middle of the ice. And pretty much this whole season, I felt Utah was very perimeter. So if they still continue to penetrate the middle, get a lot of good looks from around the crease area to the hash marks, I'd be pretty happy. Look at LA. They barely got any slot or crease chances, but the few that they did, they scored those goals. Well, I'm titling this video a lost season. I mentioned it in a previous video. I think with Cooley's injury, with this Olympics condensed terrible schedule where they're playing 6 games in 9 nights, playing every other day, no 2-day rest for like 2 months, I think it's just a recipe that this team just cannot handle. They cannot handle this adversity of things they can't really control. Well, you can't control how you play, but these external factors, a tight schedule, now you lose a high offense, high octane player in Cooley going out for long term. If the players I mentioned don't pick it up, if everyone on the team doesn't pick up their play, they are not making the playoffs. And it's been like 21 games now from game number 10 where they're still in this funk. They still can't just force their way to get points. There's a lot of long periods during games where they don't look good and it's making them lose games. But they're still hanging around. They're always just like 1 shot, 1 goal away. But when that offense isn't consistent, it's just not a recipe for success. I think in the long term, we'll look back at this season, maybe laugh. Maybe we get a good draft pick out of this season. The only thing I just don't want to happen is ruining the future for today to just grab a playoff spot. I think if it continues to be a rough ride for Utah, if they don't pick it up, I want them to pick up their play, win games, just, fight for Cooley and then tread water and be in a good position. And then Cooley comes back and then they just explode the last whatever games it is, 20 to 30 games left in the season. I want that to happen. I want to look back in this period of time and be like, wow, we really went through it and came out of it okay. But what I don't want to happen is a scrambly general manager move where we make a trade that hurts our future for the moment right now and it doesn't work out. I know people want to make the playoffs today, but you don't trade a first round pick. You look at expiring players like Schmaltz. I know Hayden's a restricted free agent. We have him for 1 more year, so we control his destiny, but he could be a piece we trade. But now with Cooley's injury, you have to keep him in the lineup because there's pretty much no other centerman. Kerfoot's still injured. So as long as we just don't trade first round picks, we don't make any moves that hurt us in the long term, we should be fine. But it sucks right now to go through this. If the team does get Quinn Hughes somehow, I'm just saying hypothetically, if you trade a first or 2 first round picks for Quinn Hughes, that helps you out in the long term. So moves that hurt you in the long term, like let's say trading futures for Nazem Kadri, who's 36 years old and he's only on your team for a year and a half. Don't do trades like that. If you get a long-term, locked up, good young player, then you look at those moves that won't necessarily hurt your future. But we're in a rough spot. We all wanted them to make the playoffs. It's a really tough year, and it seems like this team can't handle it. So hopefully I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. And hopefully they grab wins against Florida and Seattle at home to close out the week. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. If you're feeling generous, I unlock super chats. You can give a super chat. And as always, thank you for your support.